Ma Ying, the first Chinese competitor on the floor. That's where the Chinese have gone. The Soviet Union have now moved to the asymmetric bars. The United States to the vault, and Romania to the beam.
And Ma Ying making a sad mistake, stepping out of the floor area at the beginning of her exercise and then putting her hands down at the end of the exercise. So now she really has put the pressure on the rest of her teammates to put in perfect exercises.
She'll have lost at least 0.4, and you can tell from those marks you saw in the first rotation that 9.9s are the order of the day. That's where you've got to be, and she's being marked out of 9.6. Great disappointment, but obviously floor not her best piece. She was last up on beam, which means she's very strong on that piece of apparatus. On A bars, Elena Sazhenenkova, the second Russian up.
Fabulous form there. High Jaeger somersault into undershoot on the bottom bar. The Soviets really are wonderful at variety on both bars, not just the high bar, but their transition from high to low bar.
She got all her difficulty in, didn't need to do anything too spectacular at the end there. Double tuck back, lands it beautifully. And little Svetlana Baitova doing a great job for the Russians as first up. She went before Sazhenenkova and put in a 9.9 starter again.
And there's that sailing high Jaeger into the undershoot to handstand on the bottom bar, John. Wonderful work.
Lovely work, particularly as she swung it high above the bar, the Jaeger somersault. So many of the girls just sort of fall off it and quickly get the spin in, but that was a true Jaeger. And then the Ginga somersault to follow.
And it's not just the quantity of what the Russians produce, but the quality. It is really excellent work. 9.95.
And that means there were a couple of 10s in there from the judges. And she's only the second girl up. Third to go for the Russians on this piece, little Olesya Dudnik.
And Olesya bound to be nervous on this piece. It was in the compulsory exercise that she dropped a score. She dropped right down to 9.362, putting in an extra swing, but starting off with a French somersault over the bottom bar.
In steps Alexandrov, so she's going for the Kachev. Off he goes again.
She had a mini crisis on the bottom bar. She missed her hand and managed to continue as though nothing had happened. I think it was just a heartbeat that would have been noticeable.
Obviously a few problems with that piece of apparatus for her, but got through that. Look at her face. And that hurt. On to beam. Aurelia Dobre, she's the defending world champion, but our sources in the Romanian camp tell us that in fact they weren't going to work her. She's had 2 operations on her knee. She was going to come here mainly to give the other girls confidence and act as reserve, but they've got so many injury problems, in the end they've had to work her. Nothing wrong with that though.
Just shows the thoroughness of the learning process to be able to be out of gymnastics for a long time with an injury and come back and not lose your bottle on the beam, because it's all about courage. And usually a layoff saps the courage.
Just the little hesitation, meaning that the final move wasn't linked. Nice little unusual travel along the beam. Crowd appreciated.
Of course, it won't be on the beam that Dobre will really feel the knee, just on the landings. That was an excellent exercise, stylish, full of difficulty.
Looks in great form. Everybody trained to peak for these championships, and they felt that she perhaps wasn't quite there. Dudnik's bar score 9.862, and Natalia Lashonova next to go up, fourth up for the Soviets.
Lashonova, a really powerful little gymnast. Very tight. That was a beautiful ginger, probably the best we've ever seen produced by a female on the A bars, into the stolder on the bottom bars. Almost perfection, not the quantity of Daniela Silivash's bar routine, but beautiful style, beautiful technique.
And Dobre might be 1% off fitness, but my goodness, she started so well. 9.95 there on the A bars. Kristina Bontash goes up next. Sorry, I don't mean on the A bars, I mean on the beam. That's where Bontash is. Really stuck that straight back somersault on the end.
Before the tumble, quite a healthy pause. The judges seem to have chosen to ignore those. Some gymnasts move straight into the difficulties without preparation, and that must be much more difficult for them. Double split there.
Particularly lively floor music for Yang Bo's exercise in the background, but totally blocked out by Kristina Bontash. Double back finish. And there, Svetlana Boginskaya, European champion. She won last time out. Will be desperate to do it again in the individual championship, but here in the team event, she's being pushed very hard by all the other contenders. Lovely giant with a full pirouette on the top of it and then straight into the capture.
It's called a toe on, toe off into the giant. Then the double back, clean, precise, full of difficulty, but I would say not quite a 10. I'll stick my neck out.
Boginskaya going up 5th on this piece of apparatus. The other scores so far from the other Soviets, they've had a 9.95 from Lashonova, 9.95 from Sezhenenkova, 9.862 from Dudnik, and now under 9.9 from Baitova. Daniela Silivash up on beam.
And I feel nervous for her. What with Elena Shishinova's retirement, the world hopes that Silivash can take this major championship. She's never won a world or an Olympic all-around final. At 19, she really does deserve it. Flick straight, looking very positive.
That might have only looked like a small wobble, but that was a major mistake.
And Silivash is such a perfectionist, she'll be so cross about that. These gymnasts aren't happy to stay on the beam. They just don't want to wobble, they don't want a foot fault. And she won't smile. Brandy Johnson on vault from America.
Brandy Johnson, the top American, going last on the vault. She went superbly through the compulsories, looked in great form. Full twisting Yurchenko. Well, I kept very quiet during Silivash's beam routine, Monica, but it was a 10 for Boginskaya on the asymmetric bars. Now, I'll stick my neck out. I bet Daniela Silivash doesn't get a 10 on the beam. Well, they were kind to Silivash as well, though. That big wobble, and she's still got a 9.9.
We'll not go into a debate over the judging, but we're all entitled to our opinions. This is what makes the sport so interesting. 6 judges, 6 opinions. Brandy Johnson, 9.875 for her first vault. Yurchenko with a full twist. She has 2 chances at vault. She can either repeat the first, or she can try and improve her tariff or difficulty and have a shot at something different. In the individual apparatus finals, they have to do just that. Looking a bit anxious. Could she be making it more difficult? Yes. Different vault. Handspring 1.5 piked with a half twist. Up to 10 tariff, but not very square on the landing there.
Onto floor for China, Li Yan. Well, it was very high, but she didn't quite get her legs underneath her properly.
This John, the Chinese gymnast of old, very slender and not very powerful.
And I think we saw signs of that there, going in for a twisting middle tumble. Good to have the variety there, but the very top floor workers are now getting in 3 double somersaults. And Li Yan under pressure to do well for the Chinese, because they've had a couple of disasters on the floor. There's a 9.037 I can see in there from Wang Wenjing, and Ma Ying had a fall certainly with an 8.9.
Again, twisting at the end, lacking in power for the big tricks. And really that is a shame that the Chinese should let themselves go on floor. When it mattered on beam, they stuck with tenacity. It shows that they have got the team spirit, they have got the competitive temperament, and they really let it slip when they shouldn't have.
Brandy Johnson, 9.9 for her vault. Li Yan, the last to finish. This now on tape. Wendy Bruce for the States, her vault. This young USA team, Monica, really coming into this competition with a lot of spirit, a lot of fight, trying to put themselves back to the 1984 position.
Yes, really enthusiastic. Putting in some very, very difficult stuff. That's an excellent vault.
9.875 for her. They haven't really too much chance of catching the top three, but a fourth position finish, very big for her. Strajeva on A-bars. Lovely high catch of Giant. Oh, and twisting double back to finish with. Super stuff from her, 9.95, so close to that 10.
On floor, China's Chen Qiuting. Very powerful little tumbler. A finalist in the 87 World Championships in Rotterdam on this piece. And what an opener. Flick, whip, double flick and full in back out.
Yes, there aren't too many people doing a full in back out somersault with a whip in the middle of the run.
But just notice how tightly together her feet are in her flicks and in her somersaults. Probably the only gymnast who is that compact and that tidy in tumbling.
And one of the things you really do notice is the great contrast between her and the other Chinese gymnasts on the floor. Li Yan, exactly the opposite sort of floor worker, really, to little Chen Qiuting.
Yes, bags of personality in the middle and the powerful tumbles to match. That really was excellent work. And an unusual dismount to cap it. That was beautiful. 9.925 and worth every hundredth of a point.
Yes, not content just to go into the little finish, graceful, but tumbles out of it. And there we are, the positions after two rotations. Soviet Union well in the lead. Romania now clear in second place. China holding on to the bronze position with the USA fourth. We'll take another break now. Join us again in a couple of minutes. The practice still going on at the moment, and we go into the third rotation. This very exciting Team World Championship. This time, China on the vault. USA on the A-bars, the Soviet Union on the beam, and Romania on floor.
And this is Svetlana Baitova, who's doing a grand anchor job for her team. She's up first on every piece of apparatus, setting the standard of composure that the Russians really need to take them to gold. Triple twist to finish, moving to the side, but a good round of scores so far for Baitova. 9.937 on Volta first piece, 9.9 on bars. And I'm sure she'll be in the very high nines for that excellent beam exercise.
Flick. Straight back, straight back. A lot of the lesser gymnasts, when they're going for that three tumble travel down the beam, putting two flicks and only one somersault, but she's putting 2 somersaults in. Looks very relaxed about it all, doesn't she?
Yes, and that's why she went up first, because she's probably the type of temperament who can cope quite easily with the pressure. I don't know how anybody can cope quite easily with the pressure of competing on beam at a World Championships. 9.925, so they were pretty generous about the landing from that double twist.
But Baito has done her job again, given them a start that doesn't put the others under pressure. Natalia Lashonova now, front somersault mount. Seen a few people come to grief on that one.
And this should be very interesting to watch. One of the few gymnasts who tumbles on beam. That is a flick straight back.
That's a real one.
Perfect posture throughout those jumps. The shoulders never moving. So powerful. She finds jumping so easy.
Pull in back out to finish with.
And the first time ever produced from a double flick. First time in the world. Double flick, full in, back out, and she's just got the power to do it. Brilliant stuff.
An amazingly athletic beam exercise from Natalia Lashonova. And that could push the judges towards a 10. No crisis points in the exercise at all. Enormous confidence all the way through it.
And this, the dismount again. Take a look at it. First time ever produced in a major championship by any gymnast in the world.
Quite a step back on landing, but it's such a difficult one. There, Nellie Kim, a former world champion herself, now a judge on the beam. And 9.962, a couple of 10s in there, but people quite rightly taking off just for that little fault on the landing.
Olga Strojeva to beam. Arab Spring, flick, flack, straight back. Nice series of mounts there.
The one-arm balance, she didn't hold it as long as I've seen her hold it before. But seeing the Soviet team going up one after each other on beam here, a great study in their strength in depth. That's why they're virtually unbeatable when it comes to team gymnastics. Having said that, they did lose in Rotterdam, but that almost sort of worked for them, because they went away and said, well, perhaps we're getting a bit complacent, and came back even stronger.
Strojeva is a beautifully powerful gymnast. She has correct combination of power and elegance. The Russians managing so well to combine the difficult tricks with still wonderful balletic form.
Well, as Strojeva finishes, we'll take another break. We'll be back with her score and the rest of the competition very soon. Metric bars, Olga Strojeva's score comes up 9.925 she scores for that beam exercise.
Sandy going through her bar exercise cleanly. Americans really doing well, just lacking the finer points of technique. Perhaps a little more body line required on the handstands and the giants, but nevertheless, much improved gymnastics from them, John.
Yes, and they bring their own sort of extrovert brand of gymnastics to this competition. It's good to see the contrasts. Christina Bontash on floor. She's fourth up for the Romanians on this piece.
So far, Romanians have got a 9-9 from Potorak, Popper a 9-8-8-7, and Philip a 9-8-5. Good set of scores.
Pulling back out there in the middle tumbling run and then coming out of it, going all the way back across the floor. Sensational stuff. A double tuck back on the end, just as a throwaway.
Bontash has always been a tumbler, but now developing the dance side, making her much more of a complete floor worker.
Well, they were sensational tumbling runs, no other word for them. Great variety all the way through, and the crowd appreciating that spectacular exercise.
The Romanians always manage to produce appeal. The audience absolutely enthralled with her. Now Svetlana Baginskaya to beam for the Soviets. Very businesslike attitude.
Minor crisis there, having to adjust. All those little leaps that look fairly simple, not so at all on the beam.
No, it's very difficult because most of the jumps are blind landings, and series of jumps means as you land from one jump, balance has to be absolutely accurate for the takeoff for the next.
The whistles round the arena tell you that Christina Bontash didn't get a 10, it was a 9.987.
Well, that could be absolutely disastrous for the Russians and for Baginskaya. She was in the lead after the compulsories, and that really will interest Daniela Silovash. I bet she noticed that fall.
And a little under rotation on the landing. Baginskaya in trouble now in the individual all-round championship, because these scores count. She'll start, if she gets there, on an even footing. But now Silovash, who saw all that waiting to go on her floor exercise, really sticks the landing on the opening full-in, back-out somersault.
This is a new floor exercise.
Well, beautifully executed. And Monica, what's been interesting with Silavash is that as she's grown older, she's now a 19-year-old, so her floor exercises in particular have developed. I mean, she started with these elfin little jigs, doing hornpipes and things, much more elegant now.
Oh yes, so beautifully mature, and I don't care what anybody says, that a floor routine from a 19-year-old with that maturity is worth a 10. Christina Bontash, a brilliant gymnast, but just immature, and to me it shouldn't get a 10. And this is the difference between the senior and the junior gymnast, in my opinion.
Silavash showing that she can tumble brilliantly. And it's what goes in between, and the scores come up. She's got a 10. Silavash's second 10. So she's setting herself up well for the individual championship. One thing's changed there. She doesn't carry these scores through into that championship. But the reason it becomes so vital for Boginskaya with her fall-off beam is she might not even qualify as one of the Russian top 3.
And now Aurelia Dobre to floor, defending world champion. Very, very elegant. And that's where that injury that she's carried shows on the landings. Full in back out, hands down. Dobre, a brilliant mover. Wonderful dance interpretation. This is a skill in itself. The tumbles aren't the all-important factor.
There again, you see the lack of strength in that knee, that double twist. She wouldn't have been doing that a couple of years ago. But this is the team event, and the Romanians will be able to discard her score off the floor. Clever move putting her up last. There's no way they think she's better, in fact, than Silavash. But they stuck her up last, hoping that she would perhaps get an extra 10th or 2 from the judges because she was in 6th position. But found out on this opening tumble. Goes for the big, difficult tumble, the full in, back out, and the hands go down at least 0.3 away there.
Dobre probably not training the big moves, and very unfortunate on that landing.
Still waiting for Dobre's score to come up. This a tape of Alesia Dudnik up to the beam. Dudnik going up last on this piece for the Russians.
Full twisting back somersault from the Arab Spring. One really would think, John, that she was doing this exercise on the floor. She never looks down.
You really have got to know a bit about the sport to realize what a difficult tumble that is on beam. She makes it look so easy, but you've got 10 centimeters, and to put a full twist in and land in that straight a line is a magnificent feat.
I think if you stood and psyched yourself up for 10 seconds and did only that, it would be magnificent. But to slot it in nonchalantly in a World Championships in the middle of a beam routine lasting a minute and a half, something quite spectacular, and that really is class.
Lands beautifully with the double twist, really kept herself extended all the way through it, there is that full twisting back somersault on beam. You have to be exactly in line. And what I knew but you didn't is she got the 10 for it. Her third 10 of these championships already. And we could be looking at the new all-round individual champion. There, Chen Kui-Ting's vault. Dudnik really looking something a bit special, Monica.
Yes, she really has excellent qualities.
Chen Kui-Ting again, and 9.925, that her second vault, keeping the Chinese in the hunt. So it's 3 rotations gone, just 1 to go. I think the Soviets, with their sort of strength in depth, now uncatchable. A full 2-point lead there. Romania in the silver medal position, China in third. They look like the medalists at the moment, and in that order. We'll be back for the final round in just a moment. Gymnast warm-up for